Okay, so I just did one more brightness and contrast adjustment, and I'm really liking how this dust is looking. But as you can see, there's a lot of noise and color noise in it right now. So I'm going to go select, color range, I should cancel that. I have to do Control-Shift-Alt-E first. Don't forget that. Select, color range, and then shadows. Hit OK. And then go filter, camera raw, and I'm going to hit it with some color noise reduction and regular noise reduction. Try to be careful with the noise reduction. You can really do some damage to your image if you aren't careful. Now it's going to look a little bit more clean than before. So I'm going to OK. Rename this camera raw. Now I'm going to boost the contrast again. Now I have to darken all of the dark areas surrounding the dust. So I'm going to go select, color range, shadows, turn this up until you can see all the paths. Now we're going to go select and mask, increase the contrast, shift the edges back a bit, feather it, maybe shift the edges out a bit, feather some more, decrease the contrast. It's all about trying to get as much select as possible without washing out everything. Now I'm going to go to exposure, lower that. Now offset's very powerful, so as I'm finding out now, so I'm not going to mess with that. But I'm going to go here and try to get this more of like a mid-tone. I'm sorry for that noise in the background, by the way. That's my furnace. I just realized it was running. Now you can see, while it has improved the image, there's a lot of noise in it. Now we're going to mess with the colors a bit. So I'm going to decrease the saturation a bit. Just adjust it until I get that dust, that nice orange brown. Now I'm going to Control-Shift-Alt-E. Select, color range. Now I'm going to select the dust around the nebula. Okay, so I'm going to adjust the selection I have here by just hitting Alt, doing the quick select tool, and just erasing away some of it, so that way I don't hurt the Walking Man Nebula or parts of the Orion Nebula. So I just want to get that dust around it. And there goes my furnace. Now I'm going to go to hue and saturation, lower the brightness. That's looking good, but right here I'm seeing I really need to fix that, because now what I need to do is actually erase some of this out. So I'm going to reselect this area, as it seems it needs a little bit of this effect. So hue saturation, lighten it, saturate it, shift the color. There we go. Okay, so the dust is starting to pop a bit. but we kind of had this ugly halo around the Orion Nebula, so we kind of have to make this whole match. Okay, so now we need to select this area around the nebulosity so I can kind of shape it into a more good looking color. Alright, so I just completely selected all of the nebulosity. I'm going to go to exposure, drop the exposure a little bit, increase the offset. Okay, so I've gotten this image to a point where I like it. And you can see here, I did a lot of selecting colors and adjusting. So now I'm just going to flatten the image because my computer is kind of chugging. Now we're just going to start doing some final adjustments. So here I have the Astronomy Tools action set. It was about $12 to buy, but I find them helpful from time to time. So first I'm going to go use some local contrast adjustments. So first I'm going to make a new image layer. Control-Shift-Alt-E. Then run it. See in here, I like it, but it's a little strong, so I'm going to go to opacity, pull it down. I like the thirds method, or just 50%, where you either go 33, 63, or 50. Next, we're going to go to, actually first, we're going to rename it LCE for local contrast enhancement. Next, we're going to go to space noise reduction, run that. This will get rid of a lot of just the regular noise in the image. As you can see, it does a little bit of it, but still doesn't just flat out get rid of all the detail. Rename that. Create another layer. Now we're going to do deep space noise reduction. This gets rid of a lot more of the color noise. And I find it does, both them together does a much greater effect than separately. So I'm going to rename that. And finally, you just have to get rid of this airplane line or satellite line that flies through the dust. So I'm going to go to healing brush, pick an area right outside, and just nicely paint away some of this area. And that's really it. There are a few other things you can do, like go to filter camera raw and play around with the noise reduction, but I don't want to do that because I'll lose a lot of the detail in the nebula if I do that. And other things you can do are like you can go select the highlights, or at least just sample one of the stars, and then go to filter other minimum, and that will reduce the brightness of the stars. But usually I find in pictures of Orion they're not that bad. Ignore that, I totally didn't think that was a zoom. I will show you in other editing tutorials these methods. I'm going to quickly go here and delete that so you can see the final image. Zoom in. And here it is. It's a little noisy, but I don't mind it, especially because Instagram, where I post a lot of these images, just compresses the images, so you really don't see that noise. But that's it. This is how I edit the Orion Nebula and get rid of that bright core to get a more high dynamic range image. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please tell me in the comments below if you've imaged the Orion Nebula before. Have a great day, and remember, keep staring at the stars.